Application using the dry method on vehicles with corrugations or recesses. If decorating a vehicle with corrugations, only MacFleet 6500 can be used. The basic principles of applying MacFleet are exactly the same as those described previously. Cleaning and degreasing the substrate, positioning the lettering, removal of the backing, and application using a squeegee. It is at this stage that working on corrugations requires the use of special techniques. First, apply the vinyl decal over the flat and the recessed areas. The application tape should then be removed smoothly and slowly to avoid disturbing or damaging certain parts of the pattern or the logo which are not yet in contact with the bodywork, i.e. the recessed area. The surface of the MacFleet covering the recess is then heated using a hot air gun, not a hairdryer, at a temperature of around 250 degrees Celsius. The aim is to heat the vinyl to a temperature of 50 to 60 degrees Celsius without burning it before shaping it. With a finger protected by a glove or cotton fabric, apply pressure and push the vinyl into the recess, starting at the center of the recess. As soon as the vinyl cools, reheat it and continue to push it into the recessed area. During application, care should be taken to avoid leaving air bubbles. Remove them by pricking them with the cutter to release the trapped air. The vinyl is now totally in contact with the bodywork. During the shaping of the MacFleet into the corrugation, considerable tension is put on the vinyl. It is essential to release this tension. To do this, we have to reheat the MacFleet in all the areas where it was shaped. We need to use a hot air gun at full power, that is approximately 600 to 650 degrees Celsius. The distance between the MacFleet and the hot air gun should be 4 to 5 centimeters, and the reheating should be done very slowly at 50 centimeters per 20 seconds. If the reheating is done too quickly, or the distance between the gun and the vinyl is greater than that advised, then stabilization of the MacFleet will be inadequate, which may cause the film to detach from the surface or pop out a few weeks after application. Although MacFleet is an exceptionally conformable film, it's sometimes impossible to stabilize perfectly the vinyl due to the degree of complexity of the recess or substrate. In these instances, the vinyl may lift away from the corrugation. The main factors influencing vinyl conformability are the way the vinyl is stretched. It's linked to the depth of the corrugation. The angle of the corrugation in the car body, the chemical nature of the paint and the look of its finish, the number of layers of the whole construction. In the case of a multi-layer construction applied to very deep corrugations, we'll have to cut the vinyl. Let's look at the application of a printed image covered with a protective film. If it's applied on a corrugation, the vinyl to be printed will be MacFleet 6500 or Imagine JT5529P, and the protective film will be Imagine LF3699. Lamination will be done with a laminator after checking that the inks are perfectly dried and properly anchored. If the applicator works without transfer tape, he will use a felt squeegee or a plastic squeegee with a protective material. Re-moisturizing the film will ensure that the squeegee glides easily over the surface without scratching it. The vinyl is applied on the whole flat surface, avoiding corrugations. As seen before, the next step is to heat up the vinyl and the overlaminate with a heat gun set at 250 degrees Celsius. Then protect your finger with a glove or cotton fabric and push the vinyl and the overlaminate into the corrugation, starting from the center of the recessed surface. As soon as the vinyl and the overlaminate cools down, heat them up again and push them again into the corrugation. When totally applied inside the corrugation, the vinyl and the overlaminate must be stabilized with the heat gun at 600 to 650 degrees Celsius and a distance of 4 to 5 centimeters, moving the heat gun very slowly. By doing so, the car body and the films will reach a heat level of between 80 and 90 degrees Celsius for a few seconds. As soon as the car body is again at ambient temperature, cut the vinyl and the overlaminate with a cutter in all the angles of the corrugation, adjusting the cutting pressure to avoid damaging the car body. After a few hours, the vinyl and the overlaminate will shrink by 1 to 2 millimeters where the graphics have been cut. This shrinkage will be hardly noticeable. But be careful. If the applicator forgets to stabilize the graphics before cutting, the vinyl and the overlaminate could shrink by 3 to 4 millimeters.